If they reject me again today, I'm done with this industry forever, Layla muttered as she wiped the last smudge off the showroom floor. The phone rang sharply, and she froze. The caller ID flashed a number from overseas. Instinctively, she ducked behind a sleek black SUV. Layla Harris speaking. A voice responded in fluent Dutch. Layla answered without hesitation, her tone polished and precise. They spoke quickly about her application for the linguistics graduate program in Amsterdam. Your motivation letter arrived too late, the voice said in Dutch, the accent unmistakable. Said the voice. Layla frowned. That can't be. I sent it 2 weeks ago, she replied in Dutch, her voice tense but controlled. Suddenly, everything around her went quiet. Layla felt a presence. She turned and there he was, Harrison Quinn, CEO of the showroom chain, standing just a few feet away, eyes fixed on her in stunned silence. Beside him, Denise, the floor manager, radiated fury. Layla hastily ended the call. I'll call you back later, she murmured in Dutch, ending the call with shaking hands. Monsieur de Sereno, Harris, your Norman's office. Now one discern one. Denise's voice sliced through the still air like a blade. The walk to the administrative office in the basement felt like a slow march to judgment. Layla sensed the stares of her coworkers, some pitying, others clearly pleased. As the only black woman in the janitorial staff with a college degree, she was used to being ignored or dismissed. Who do you think you are, taking calls during work hours? And speaking in, what was that gibberish Denise snapped once the office door shut? Dutch, Layla answered instinctively. I don't care if it's Martian. Never my Suriname, wonder me to one. Mr. Quinn saw you in the middle of the showroom talking like you're some executive. 3 months. You're on car wash duty at the event lot. No overtime. Be grateful you're not fired. Layla didn't respond. Her jaw tightened, but she held back. There was no point in arguing. Not yet. Layla stood in silence as Denise typed out the disciplinary notice. Every keystroke felt like a slap. Denise didn't even look at her. 3 months. Event lot car wash. You'll report to maintenance at 5A. Hush. And don't even think about complaining. There's a line of people waiting for your spot. Layla took the paper, nodded once, and left without a word. That night, in her shared apartment, she stared at the framed degree on the wall, Bachelor of Linguistics, summa cum laude. The corners of the frame were chipped, the wall behind it cracked. She'd sent out 52 job applications in the last 4 years. Not one offer. Every time she applied internally to the showroom's marketing or international relations team, the answer came back the same position already filled. Once, she caught Denise tossing her transfer request form into the shredder. The injustice festered. Layla was the only janitor with a degree, fluent in 5 languages. And yet she was stuck scrubbing tires while new hires with half her credentials got office tours. At the event lot, the first morning hit her like a wall of cold. The concrete was still wet from overnight rain, and the first vehicle she was assigned had tire grease caked over its rims. The other workers avoided eye contact. A few of them smirked. One whispered just loud enough. Language girl got demoted. Layla didn't flinch. She scrubbed harder. 2 days later, she passed by a break room and overheard Denise laughing with Carver, the director of operations. Did you see her face talking Dutch like it's going to land her a promotion? Denise scoffed. She's wasting her time, Carver replied. We don't need a translator in janitorial. Layla stood behind the door, fists clenched. The hallway lights buzzed faintly. Her jaw ached from how hard she bit down to stay quiet. But that night, she didn't cry. Instead, she reprinted her resume. Again, Suriyorisho. She highlighted her language skills. Ahitin. Again. She sent a direct email to Human Resources. Again. Except this time, someone replied, please report to the executive floor. 9A. Surinir Sarisetinen. Sharp. Mr. Quinn would like a word. Layla arrived at the executive floor 5 minutes early. The air smelled of polished wood and expensive perfume. Everything gleamed. Her shoes squeaked on the marble. She felt small, out of place but not unworthy. It was a different world from the damp, oil-stained event lot below. The receptionist looked up, surprised. Name. Layla Harris. I have an appointment with Mr. Quinn. She was asked to wait. Moments later, a door opened. Mr. Harris, right this way. Mr. Quinn's office was larger than her entire apartment. He stood as she entered, gesturing to the seat across from him. I heard you speaking Dutch. He began without preamble. Fluent. Yes, sir. And Mandarin, French, and Arabic. Quinn raised an eyebrow, then opened a folder on his desk. Your resume. Honors degree in linguistics. Certifications from 4 international institutes. Yet you've been cleaning our floors for 5 years. Layla sat still, eyes steady. I applied for internal positions multiple times. She said, I was never contacted. I see. He tapped the folder. And you submitted a transfer request 6 weeks ago. Yes. It was shredded by Miss Denise. Quinn didn't react visibly, but his fingers tightened slightly on the edge of the desk. There's a major international auto conference starting tomorrow, he said. Dutch and Chinese delegates. We need someone who can manage linguistic coordination and real-time cultural guidance. He looked at her directly. I want you on that floor. Temporarily. Title International Liaison. Pay $5,000 a week. Effective immediately. Layla blinked. Why me? Quinn leaned back. Because I heard you. And because no one else here speaks 6 languages and scrubs chrome like it's personal. This place hides talent in uniforms. I'm done pretending not to notice. She didn't smile, but her eyes locked with his. Then I'll show up ready. Quinn didn't stand. He just nodded once. Then be early. The conference begins at 9. Layla stood. I'll be there at 8. The apartment was silent except for the steady hum of the refrigerator and the occasional groan of old plumbing. Layla sat cross-legged on the thin mattress that doubled as a couch and bed. The lights were dim. Half of the ceiling bulbs had gone out months ago. Across from her, nailed to the crumbling wall, hung a framed certificate, Georgetown University, Honors in Linguistics. The glass was cracked in the upper left corner, the frame slightly crooked. She had cleaned it last week. Again. Beside it were 4 smaller certificates, international programs in Dutch, French, Mandarin, Arabic. She had earned them through night classes, scholarships, YouTube tutorials, and sheer will. Her eyes drifted to a photograph tacked beside the frame. Her mother, in a housekeeper's uniform, standing in front of a hotel. The smile was wide but tired. Layla remembered the late nights her mother returning from double shifts. Hands blistered, eyes lined with exhaustion. They'll never see us, her mother once said, staring at her own reflection in a microwave door. So you have to make them hear you. Layla swallowed. That night she hadn't cried. But now, sitting in the silence of her worn apartment, she let the weight settle. She'd been invisible for so long, she'd almost started believing she didn't exist. Her resume had been submitted to this very company 12 times. 12. Each time, the same response, none. She had memorized the rejection phrasing. We regret to inform you. We have selected a candidate who more closely fits our current needs. Her hands clenched, not from sadness, but from memory, from fire. Tomorrow, she would not just speak, she would be heard. She reached for a notebook tucked beneath the mattress. Its cover was worn, pages filled with notes from lectures, vocabulary drills, cultural insights scribbled between shifts. On the inside cover, a message was taped handwritten by her mother in fading ink. Don't wait to be invited. Make your own way. Layla traced the words with her fingers. It was time to stop surviving quietly. It was time to rise on her terms. The elevator doors opened with a soft chime on the executive floor. Layla stepped out in her pressed blazer, her old janitor's shoes polished until they shone like patent leather. A new badge hung from her neck, International Liaison, temporary appointment. She walked past the reception desk without hesitation. Every step felt heavier than the last, not because of fear, but because she could feel every eye turning. Denise looked up from the clipboard she was reviewing. Her mouth parted slightly, confused, as Layla approached. Ms. Harris, what are you doing here? Layla's voice was calm. Reporting for duty. For what? International Liaison. Conference team. To Millionaire. Direct order from Mr. Quinn. Denise blinked. Her eyes scanned Layla's badge again, trying to find the flaw. There was none. is Roe Yuri Giritin Idrinton. You're not qualified for 6 languages, bachelor's in linguistics, 4 international certifications, filed for transfer 12 times. HR has it all, Layla replied evenly. Denise's mouth opened, but nothing came out. Layla continued walking, her posture straight, her jaw set. In the glass meeting room, final preparations for the International Auto Conference buzzed around her. Staff hurried with folders, translators adjusted headsets, and one of the Chinese delegates looked over with curiosity. Layla greeted him fluently in Mandarin. The man lit up, surprised. You speak? Yes. Welcome to the United States. If there's anything you need, I'll be your liaison throughout the event. He nodded, visibly impressed. Moments later, Mr. Quinn stepped in. Everything in order. Mrs. Harris. Yes, sir. I've reviewed the material. There are errors in the Mandarin translation, serious ones. Quinn's face darkened slightly. Can you fix them? I already did. These phrases were improperly localized. They could cause cultural offense. He took the revised document from her, scanned it, and nodded. Good catch. The originals came from Carver's team. Layla didn't respond. She didn't need to. That afternoon, she moved through the showroom floor with quiet authority. The Dutch and Chinese guests mingled, and Layla transitioned between languages as if born to it. Staff whispered behind her back. Not with mockery this time, with uncertainty. In the corner, Carver watched. His smile was tight, eyes following her every move. Layla never looked his way. She was too busy making sure every welcome kit was correctly translated, every delegate properly greeted. It wasn't about revenge. No. It was about precision, about being exactly where she belonged. For the first time in years, she wasn't surviving the job. She was commanding it, and they all knew it now. In the staff break room, the same one where Denise once laughed about Layla's language games, silence reigned. Layla passed by with a headset in one hand, translating live between 2 executives as she walked. Someone had left a half-eaten donut on the table. No one touched it. They just watched her go. One intern whispered, "She used to clean this floor." Another replied, "Now she runs it." It started with a whisper. One of the Dutch delegates pulled Quinn aside. "There's a discrepancy in this contract draft," he said, tapping a page. "The Mandarin clause doesn't match the English." Quinn frowned. "Let me see." Layla stepped closer. "I reviewed that document. It's not the version I finalized." He handed it to her. She scanned it quickly. "This is the old draft. The translation is incorrect again. And this phrase here implies a one-sided agreement." Quinn's eyes narrowed. Where did this come from? Before Layla could answer, Carver entered the room, holding a folder. "Conference team. I've printed final kits for the delegates." He paused, seeing Layla holding the document. "Carver," Quinn said sharply, "where did you get this version?" Carver's voice remained smooth. "From our external translator. The same vendor we've used for years." Layla stepped forward. "I confirm that vendor has no formal certification in business Mandarin. The phrases used are culturally tone-deaf at best, offensive at worst." Quinn didn't blink. "How long have we been using them?" 6 years, Layla answered. "At inflated rates, triple market average." The room fell silent. Carver glanced at the delegates, who were starting to murmur. "I'd like to see that vendor's file," Quinn said. "Now is one time." A low shuffle, then a voice from the HR door. "We have it." Zoe from HR walked in with a folder, along with hiring records. "It's all linked to Carver's niece." Carver's face flushed. "This is absurd." Zoe laid out documents, payment records, credentials, internal warnings ignored. "I have emails where Layla flagged these issues. They were buried." One of the Chinese delegates stepped forward. "This clause," he said, pointing at the contract, "would have been deeply insulting if presented. It implies subordination." Quinn's jaw clenched. "Thank you for your honesty." He turned to Carver. "Effective immediately. You're suspended, pending formal investigation." Carver looked around the room, then at Layla. "You planned this." She didn't flinch. "I did my job." He took a step toward her. "You think this makes you better?" "No," she said, "but it proves you were never qualified to judge me." Security entered. Carver hesitated, then backed away. As he exited, Layla turned back to the team. "We have 30 minutes until the signing. Let's fix this properly This time, we do it on my terms. As security led Carver out, the weight of his exit lingered in the air. Several staff members exchanged stunned glances. For years, they had watched him move unchecked, untouchable. Now, silence. One assistant dropped her pen. Another delegate leaned in to whisper, "She saved the entire deal." Quinn adjusted his tie and faced the team. "We owe Edmonds Harris more than thanks. We owe her a correction of process. Effective immediately. All translations go through her team. No exceptions." Layla didn't nod or smile. She just turned back to the table, picked up the error-laden document, and ran her pen through the mistranslated line. "Replace this with joint commitment, mutual benefit. Use Mandarin formal syntax." Someone at the back applauded quietly. Then another, "When you unnoticed?" The momentum shifted. Staff moved faster, more alert. Delegates responded with respect, not hesitation. Quinn stepped aside, letting Layla take the center seat. For the next 20 minutes, she directed corrections, briefed translators, and ensured every cultural cue aligned. It wasn't a coup. It was competence, finally unleashed, and no one dared look away. The emergency board meeting was called within the hour. In the executive auditorium, rows of senior managers and department heads filled the seats. Some looked confused, others anxious. Quinn stepped onto the stage without preamble. "We have a serious issue to address," he said. "An internal investigation has uncovered gross negligence and possible misconduct tied to translation contracts and staffing practices." A hush swept the room. Layla stood just behind the curtain, listening. "Mr. Carver has been suspended pending formal investigation," Quinn continued, "and all connections between internal decision-makers and external vendors will now be subject to audit." Murmurs broke out. Names were exchanged in low voices. The room shifted. Zoe from HR stepped forward with a set of slides. On the screen appeared a breakdown language skills among staff versus roles assigned, patterns of ignored applications, favoritism, suppressed promotions. Multiple qualified employees were overlooked for years, Zoe said. In some cases, deliberately. Denise sat near the front, visibly pale. Quinn's voice turned hard. "This culture ends now." He turned to Layla. "Mrs. Sue Harris, please step forward." The room twisted. Faces turned. She walked calmly to the front. "Without her intervention, we could have lost millions and damaged our global standing. Effective immediately. Layla Harris is being promoted to Director of Cultural and Linguistic Integrity." There was a long pause, then scattered applause. Then more. "Like, so soon." Denise tried to stand. "Sir, sit down," Quinn said coldly. "You're on administrative leave until further notice." Layla didn't look at Denise. She addressed the room instead. "I'm not here because I wanted revenge," she said. "I'm here because this company deserves better, and so do the people it ignored." Silence. Heavy. Respectful. No one clapped. No one needed to return. The reckoning had spoken for itself. 3 months later, the showroom looked the same, but everything had changed. A new plaque was mounted in the main lobby. "Invisible no more. A commitment to recognizing hidden talent." Layla stood beside it during the unveiling. Her badge now read VP of Diversity and Global Communications. Since her promotion, she had launched an internal program called Second Glance, a talent rediscovery initiative that reviewed past overlooked applicants and reevaluated current staff for advancement. In the first quarter alone, 12 frontline employees had been reassigned to roles that better matched their qualifications. 4 had already led cross-border client projects. The janitorial team now included 2 trilingual coordinators. One of the receptionists was teaching lunchtime Spanish classes. HR had established a dedicated language equity office, led by Zoe. The ripple effects extended beyond personnel. Outsourced translation costs dropped by 72%. International satisfaction ratings hit record highs. For the first time, clients from Asia and Europe commented not just on service, but on cultural fluency. Layla didn't take credit in the meetings. She didn't have to, One afternoon, while reviewing a new mentorship proposal, a young intern knocked on her door. "Mr. Harrison, one. "Yes. I just wanted to say, my mom's a janitor here. She told me what you did. I'm applying to the company's scholarship program. Because of you." Layla smiled. You're not here because of me. You're here because you're ready. The intern nodded, eyes bright. Still, thanks for opening the door. After the intern left, Layla looked at the city skyline beyond her window. For the first time, she felt not just seen, but part of the structure. The lesson wasn't just about language. It was about recognition, about what happens when silence is replaced with voice. And when systems are forced to see what they've long ignored. If this story stirred something in you, anger, inspiration, reflection, then don't let it stop here. At Unveiled Wealth, we believe in storytelling that does more than entertain. We uncover truths, spotlight injustice, and elevate the voices that were never meant to be silent. Layla's journey isn't just about one woman rising. It's about what happens when courage confronts a system that was built to ignore her. About how truth, when spoken in the right moment, can shake entire foundations. Maybe you've been dismissed. Maybe you've been told to wait your turn over and over. Maybe, like Layla, you've spent years proving yourself to people who never really looked. Then this story is for you. It's a reminder that talent doesn't wait for permission. That recognition can't be withheld forever. And that real change doesn't start in conference rooms. It starts in silence being broken. So if you've ever wondered whether your voice matters, let this be your answer. It does been a way this soon. Because Layla didn't just change a policy, she redefined the future for everyone coming after her. And that's what we share here on Unveiled Wealth stories that start with pain, build through courage, and end in transformation. If you believe in what we do, help us keep going. Subscribe to Unveiled Wealth, not just to follow stories, but to stand behind them. Drop a comment if this story spoke to you, and share it with someone who deserves to be reminded. Silence doesn't mean absence. Let them see what happens when dignity refuses to stay hidden. We are Unveiled Wealth, and we are not done telling the truth. Are you ready for the next story? Because stories like this don't belong to just one person. They belong to all of us. To every quiet strength, every overlooked skill, every voice told to stay silent. They belong to the janitor with a hidden degree, the cashier fluent in 4 languages, the receptionist running numbers in her head while answering phones. And they belong to you. Your story might be next. So ask yourself, what system needs to be shaken? What truth do you carry that could change everything if finally heard? At Unveiled Wealth, we don't chase trends. We chase justice. We don't just expose injustice. We transform it into power. If this mission speaks to you, then join us. Turn on, come on, share, and most importantly, listen. Because the next voice we elevate might be yours.